Every time I tell this story, it takes me right back to that night. I'm sure it's unsettling to hear, but keep in mind when you're hearing it, everyone, it actually happened to me. At the time, it was hands down the scariest thing to ever happen to me. Since then, I've actually been mugged, so it's now the second scariest thing to happen to me. I'm big into the outdoors, camping, fishing, hiking, skiing, biking, anything that gets me out the door and on my feet. This particular night, I was out fishing at a new spot one of my buddies from a Facebook group told me about. It was a dock that was secluded on a dirt path, to the left of one of the biggest parks in our city. It was a nice dock with a sitting bench and plenty of space. I was surprised I'd never heard of it. But he did say it was kind of forgotten about when the park was built and the new docks and boat landing were in place. This night, I was fishing on my own, just to clear my mind. I had the following day off of work, so I took advantage of the nice clear night. No one was around, which was a bonus. I always hated walking up to a dock full of strangers in the dark. I sat on the bench at the front of the dock and proceeded to bait my hook. It was a perfect night, mostly clear, with stars shining in the dark sky. Nearly a full moon, so there was plenty of light, and there was the slightest breeze. It was around 72 degrees, so not too hot and not too cool. I cast my line for the first time and sat waiting for a bite. I was startled out of my deep thoughts when I heard footsteps approaching from behind. Odd, I thought. I don't hear anyone talking, and I didn't hear or see a car pulling. Not wanting to make it obvious that I was looking to see who was behind me, I pulled one of those yawn and stretch moves, making it look as though I'd been sitting too long and needed to stretch my back. I was surprised to see nothing, not a trace of anyone, and the footsteps stopped as soon as I started twisting. I felt a little uneasy, because it was pretty dark despite the moonlight, so technically someone could be hiding out amongst the trees and bushes behind me, and I wouldn't know. So the footsteps could have been from someone trying to sneak up closer to me. I tried to go back to relaxing, figuring my mind was playing tricks on me. I grabbed a cold one and settled back in on the bench, looking out at the moon reflecting on the water. Slightly mesmerized by it, I let out one not-so-manly scream when my car alarm sounded. Fumbling for my keys, figuring I must have hit the button in my pocket somehow. I panicked when I remembered and looked down. The keys and remote were face up, right on top of my tackle box. So someone was obviously standing close enough to my car to have touched it and set the alarm off. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up. I was acutely aware of the fact that I had nothing to protect myself with except a pocket knife. I slowly stood up and turned around, expecting the worst. But as far as I could tell from there was no one near my car. I grabbed my keys, not wanting to leave them unattended, and headed towards the area to chase away whoever was trying to break into my car. Searching all around it, including a few steps into the woods, there was no one near my car. Even more confused than I was with the footsteps, I made my way back to the dock to sit down, feeling a little weak. Deciding to just pack it up for the night, I reeled my line in. I was packing up my bait and closing the tackle box when I heard footsteps again. I froze, and again, the hair on the back of my neck stood up. I can't describe in adequate words how afraid I felt in this moment. The events leading up to this moment really had me on edge, and there was a really dark feeling energy as these footsteps approached. I had decided to pick my things up and run as fast as I could to my car, but when I got to it, it wouldn't unlock. I tried the remote 2 or 3 times on the way to the car, and then again when I approached. Then, I frantically tried the key, but somehow it wouldn't turn in the lock. I was thinking to myself, this is the end. This is like a scene from a horror movie, where I usually mock the lead character who fumbles with their keys, or trips when they're running away. But something was different with this than one of those cheesy horror movies. It was my life on the line. My heart nearly dropped through my toes when I heard the loud crunching of grass and leaves right behind me, while I was still trying to unlock the car. I turned around, slowly expecting to get knocked out or something worse. But instead, I screamed when I turned around and saw a man, dressed like he was in a completely different time period, standing just 2 feet away from me. I started to ask what he wanted, and he disappeared. The next thing I knew, I was being shaken by a teenage boy. "Sir? Sir? Are you okay? Do you need an ambulance?" he asked, grabbing his phone. I motioned that I was okay, and he helped me sit up and gave me a fresh bottle of water from his vehicle. He said he came out to get some night fishing in and found me lying on the ground. I don't know for sure how long I was on the ground, but judging by the time on my phone, it was somewhere between half an hour and 50 minutes. I never returned to that fishing spot again. I'm glad that young man was there to help you. If he hadn't been out to fish, you may have laid there for far longer. Thank you for sharing your story. If you have a paranormal story to share, email it to the address in the description below. Please like the video and subscribe if you haven't. It really helps the channel. And with that, see you tomorrow, friends.